I think we're live. Here we go. Well, welcome. My name is Meg. I'm an art teacher here in Madrid, Spain. Today is day 37 of quarantine. So we are getting up there in the numbers. I went out grocery shopping today and it was like just the most foreign thing. Weird. I realized was the people that weren't wearing masks. I was like, why are you not wearing a mask? And I was like, how's this so normal? Quarantine does weird things to our brains. Let me pray for us, and then we'll jump into materials and all the things you might need. God, thanks for who you are. Thank you that you're in charge of the sun rising in the morning, and even at night you give us the moon. You're so generous. Thank you. Lord, I pray that you would bless this time as we draw and doodle and be creative. And I pray that the words that come out of my mouth would be a blessing to you, and that you would use this time to help our brains kind of download and process a little bit of all this stuff that's been going on. Lord, we just want to say right now that we trust you and that we love you. Amen. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me. It's a gift to have you. Sweet. Today's pretty simple. Again, you really don't need a ton of stuff to participate. So I have a pencil and a piece of paper, just a blank piece of paper. I guess I have stuff on this side for planning, but my paper is blank. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to teach you a little bit about like fashion design sketching as a caveat at the very forefront. The way we sketch for like kind of clothes design and fashion design is very different than the way that we draw normal human forms. Why that is, I will never understand. But nonetheless, I'm going to teach you how at least one of the many ways that designers go about designing clothing. And part of that begins with dividing up the body into sections so that we can understand different connection points and why, for example, waistlines are where they are for different genders. So let's start off. I've got a couple sketches on the one side of my paper, but I'm going to do two on this side with you. And then if you have questions, you can kind of you can either comment them or we can just kind of work through it as a group. So grab out your pencil, grab out your paper, and I'll move my camera and we'll get going. Okay, so here we are. I've got, you got a little shadow here. Okay, so yeah, here's where we are so far. I have two sample sketches on this side of my paper. I have one with an evening gown, and then I have one just a regular, maybe everyday outfit. And then I have two lines that I have drawn vertically from the top of my paper. Can you see that? Yep, top of my paper to the very bottom. So to start off, do that on your paper. Start with a line, again, drawing towards your body all the way up and end at just about near the top. And then I would say give yourself some margin, but do another one of those lines going from the very bottom of the paper, again, all the way towards you. As soon as you've got those lines drawn, flip your paper perpendicular to where you had it before. And what we're going to do is take this line here, and we're going to divide this line into thirds. So I'm just going to create a little notch right here and a little notch right here. You could measure it if you have a ruler on you, but I don't. So I'm just going to kind of guesstimate. From there, I'm going to take this first section and I'm again going to divide it into thirds. So we're going to take it, a little dash and a little dash. I would encourage you, if you haven't noticed, I'm just drawing super, super lightly on my page. You might want to sketch over these lines later. So I recommend, at least at this point in the game, drawing lighter if you have the option. And again, using pencil so that we can alter some of those lines should it be necessary. For this next section, again, we're going to divide it into thirds like that. And this next section up here into thirds again. You can repeat the same process on the other line that you've drawn. So again, dividing the whole line into thirds at the start, and then the subsections again into thirds. So this has a name. It's called like a 9-head sketch, essentially, which basically comes from the way that we study human forms in relationship to proportions. So typically with humans, we can use our head and we can use that a certain amount of times to describe the height of a person. It's not always true, of course. God is so creative and there's all sorts of variety, but for the purpose of this sketch, if that helps you understand why we divided it into nines, that is why. We are going to essentially have 9 a 9-head tall human, basically. Okay, back to the paper. Hi, Karen. It's good to hear from you. So here we are. I'm going to start with this first line here. And what you're going to do in this first ninth is draw an almond or oval shape representing the head form. So quick reminder, I tell this all to all my students, even though we like to think that human heads are circles, they're not. They're, it's crazy actually. How many times I have to remind myself of that, but really they're ovals. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create an oval shape like this. I kind of I'm drawing upside down, so hopefully yours is a little more precise than mine. Yeah, but essentially drawing an oval, starting and filling that entire top 9th section like that. Again, I'm leaving my lines really kind of wispy and airy so that there's a lot of room for me to go back later and kind of clean up some lines if I want to. Or later I drew some hair on some of my models to kind of help myself get a feel for what else the look could contain. And so sometimes these wispy lines can lend ourselves a little bit of margin to do those things. Okay, so next, we've got this next section. So what we have to think about is how human bodies work for a quick moment. So if you look at my head, I'll use my head as an example. I'm definitely not a model, but notice where my neck comes from, what points on my face. So my ears, almost it's like the lines are dragged down and I hit the back part of my jaw. If you're watching this and you have your pencil, put your pencil down and feel where the back of your jawbone is, if you take this line, your neck goes right there. So we are going to essentially find the back of your jawbone for our model here, and we're going to draw that neckline, drag those lines down, okay? I'm going to turn my paper so I can do that precisely, and then I'll show you what I got right. Sweet. It's best to think about the neck as a continuation of the head as opposed to something that we just stick between the head and the body, if that makes sense. Okay. Great. So here we are. That's the neck that I have. Again, you can think about with each of these lines, again, that line is just being dragged down through the face. And it's almost like it's going to just wisp right into the shoulders. So shoulders, how convenient. That's the next thing. So with human forms, sometimes it's best to think about shoulder proportions as if you were to stack a couple heads on either side of the actual head that you have. So it is almost as if you were to take the measurement of my face, stick one on this side and another on this side. So let's do that and follow that rule for the width of the shoulders, okay? Here we go. There's that. This is my first time truly drawing upside down, so if I butcher this, I have to go back. Okay, not too bad. This one's a little bit long. Cool. Okay, I'm gonna bring this one up a little bit. Awesome. So this, again, here's where you're going to get to think about what your style is going to be. So if stylistically you're going to design an outfit that has a lot of really structured angles, you can choose to keep the shoulders a little bit more taut. But if you are deciding you want something a little bit more elegant, sometimes it's nice to leave sort of that natural curve on the shoulders. Totally up to you. And again, this is where you can make that choice on your own paper. Mine are going to be a little bit more elegant on this one. So we're going to continue down. Okay, so at this point, we're going to stop and we're going to quick number the lines that we have, number the lines of division. So what I'm going to do is just take my page, give myself a couple little helpful guides. I'm going to start with the first line is 0. My first line is going to be 1, 2, 3. You know the drill. Just like that. Okay, the reason why that is helpful is later, if we have to go back, it's easier for me to just say line number 4, could bring it back to line number 4. So here we are. Continuing onward, we're gonna go into where line number 2 is. I'm gonna be drawing a female, so for this first one, so if that, hopefully you can draw with me and just go with that. Basically what we're going to do is understand that in between line number 1 and line number 2, I have transitioned from the neck all the way down into the upper part of the chest. And then in the same way, I'm going to let the arms correspond to these lines. So sometimes it's helpful for me. I like to kind of just give myself some boundaries for what space like the arms and torso are actually going to take up. So I drag the lines from either side of the shoulder down just past line number 4. Let's take a second to do that. Awesome. So the next step is going to be drawing the armpits in, because if we have no armpits, our arms can't come off of the form that we're working with, which is an issue. So let's get those in so our model can at least move a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to come in just a little bit here, and I'm going to make a little marker. And then the same thing near the other side, near my number 2. Your number 2 could be somewhere else. And then what I'm going to do is, again, drag these lines just gently down towards number 4. I'll probably add a different arm form later, but sometimes that helps me as I start to kind of craft the ideas for what I'm going to do, at least for the shirt portion of the outfit. It gives me space to really be creative and I don't have to redraw arms later. So again, there we are. What we're going to do now is we are going to create just a really simple just kind of top of the female figure. What's going to happen is I'm going to take these lines from the armpit and I'm going to drag them towards line number 3, allowing line number 3 to be my true waistline. Again, this is where, of course, this is not a typical natural human form. Again, we're doing fashion design, so it's a little bit different. Okay. All right, there's that. Sorry about the light. I'll do my best to keep showing up close. So that's where we are so far. So we're dragging these lines from the armpit down to line number 3. And what I like to do there is simply draw kind of a band across the waistline, only because it helps me understand where the top of my form is and the bottom of the form is. So like this. Let me see if I can move my camera a little bit closer. So I have a little bit less light there, maybe. Okay, there's that. All right. And then from here, I am going to curve the waist down to line number 4. Like that. Of course, there could be a little bit of variety here too, depending on what outfits you choose. Okay, awesome. Now, here's what's going to happen. We are going to slowly make the leg forms kind of drag down from this place. So we have just like a typical pant line hanging out on line number 4. And what's going to happen is I'm just going to take this line, and sometimes it's nice. I'm going to do the same thing I did with the arms on the top of this form. I'm just going to drag them down towards the very bottom of my paper. I'm going to turn it so I can see, and then I will show you what we got. Okay. We're keeping in mind that as we do this, we're drawing a hip line in there around line number 4. So I am letting this line sort of kind of curve gently at line number 4. And then I'm again just drew those lines straight down to the bottom of my page. This would be an option where if you wanted to keep your model wearing like a dress or a skirt of some kind, you don't even have to draw the legs that we're going to go for from here. I think I'm going to do a pant, so I will. But depending on what you would like to do for this drawing, you can choose. So line number 4, I'm going to split right here for the pant line to show. And then I'm going to drag this line down like this. Following again that line that just kind of is hanging off of the hip. And I'll show you in just a second. And then around line number 6. Line number 6 is where you are going to start recognizing that there's knees. So notice that I tapered my lines right here until about line number 6, created a little bit of a curve out to form a calf, and drag the line down. I'm going to do the same thing on the next leg over here. All right, so here is what I have so far. Turn it like that. Perfect. So then I'm going to just do a really, really simple ankle silhouette there, going from that point on. And that should be that last ninth down here, that last ninth. And it almost looks like the model that I'm dressing, it has like ballet slippers on. I should probably have like heels or something, who knows. But basically that's what I have so far. Okay, so sorry, I think the light's a little bit better now. Hopefully that's a little bit better. Sorry about that. So here we are. Okay, now it's time to decide what exactly you want to have on your model's forms. So what I'm going to choose actually a top, kind of contrary to the season because it's warming up here, but I was thinking a turtleneck might be kind of fun. So I'm going to start at the neck, and then I'm going to define the arms as I go down. Let me show you how I do that. So essentially, I'm going to just pull a line straight across the neckline here, like that. And then I'm going to just taper it gently around the neck. I'm going to add a couple lines just to kind of demonstrate like a type of ruching of fabric, like that. And then I'm going to take my pencil and continue that sort of neckline down all the way into each of the shoulders, kind of darkening these lines, making them a little bit more defined. Okay, just like that. Okay, great. Then what I'm going to do is decide how I would like the position of my arms for this model. I think what I'm going to do is just do a slight taper from the armpit, and then right at line number 3. That's typically where we see elbows kind of jutting out. So I'm going to create an elbow form right there and tuck my arms right behind the model, like that. Again, I'm going to be darkening each of those lines so that I can kind of see where the piece of fabric, where it continues on the model's body, if that makes sense. Okay. Awesome. I'm going to add a little bit of definition there. Again, if you have a different type of shirt or top or different vision from here, you go in whatever direction makes sense, but that's what I have. Okay, moving on to the other side. I think what I'm going to do is a hand that just goes down straight. So I'm going to continue these lines just like I kind of sketched before. And I'm going to end the hand just above line number 5. Again, continuing that curve right off of the shoulder and dragging this arm down. And as I get down here, I'm going to just make a little gentle curve in, recognizing this is probably a hand. And that's good. Okay, just like that. Sometimes it's helpful to kind of add a little bit of an extra line near the elbow to create the illusion of an elbow, even though technically it would be covered up in our drawing. Okay, great. So I'm going to just carve out this hand just a little bit as I'm like looking at it in reverse. I'm like, that's not exactly what I wanted to communicate. Okay, great. So that's a lot better. Awesome. Now what we're going to do is define the woman's chest here just a little bit. So I'm going to take the armpit down. I'm just going to do a gentle curve on this side like this and bring it in towards the waistline, and the same thing over here. Just like that. Okay, so turtlenecks typically fill in all of the surfaces, so I'm just going to add the illusion of a little bit of a chest here so that we know how much space the body takes up. So I'm just going to simply kind of go like this. And I've got some lines drawn in. Okay, great. So from here, we are going to go into the pant or skirt or whatever you decide for the bottom that for your model to wear. I'm going to do an ankle pant similar to the one I did over here if you want a close-up of where we're going. But I think I'm going to leave the turtleneck kind of puffed over the actual waistline. So this is where you can make some fun style choices and allow this top to really either steal the show or define sort of where the waistline is. And remember that because every model is different, it's going to look different, and that's totally okay. So what I'm going to do here is, again, just draw a simple waistband, just so I know that in my mind, I'm going to darken this line again, just to give it a little bit of contour at the top. And then I'm going to take the lines that we sketched earlier, kind of going over the hips of the form coming from the waist. I'm going to darken those, starting from the top, working our way down. Again, remember where knees are and be sure to give them credit. Like that. And then I'm going to obviously stop where I want my pant to stop. So because it's an ankle pant, I'm just going to go down just above, right above my number 8. Draw a line across and then continue darkening these forms all the way up towards the top of each leg there. This is a good time. I'm going to erase a couple of my tick marks because now is when I want to really define the form and I don't need them anymore. So again, I'm going to do the same thing on the second leg here. Again, darkening those lines. Just like that. Okay. Looking really good. Sweet. Again, obviously going to tailor the pants at the same length and continue. Although let's tailor them straight. How about that? Sounds good. Just like that. And then drawing, following the lines all the way up. Again, give the knees credit where it's due. And yep, continue to darken. Just like that. Looking great. Okay, what I might do is add like a fun belt or something. So I'm going to go back to this waistline. I'm going to envision what a cute belt would look like from here. Let me turn on my paper so I can see it, and then I'll share with you what idea I come with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just create a little bit of a belt line right there, just like that. Draw the line across. And then what I might just do is add a couple of those like belt notches and do an offset belt from the side. Like that. Great. Okay, so our model's got pants and a shirt. We're doing awesome. Now you can decide if you want to do a fun hairstyle or something. I did like a cute bob over here, and I kind of love that. So what I'm going to do is teach you how to do that. So quick like face lesson. Our eyes are actually in the very middle of our face. So when we look at our hairline, it can go anywhere, and this depends on the person too. It can go anywhere from even closer to here to all the way back. So really, it's up to you exactly where you'd like to choose to part hair or put hair, but know that it should respond to where the eyes are in the middle of the face. Okay, sweet. So I'm going to start just above here. I'm going to kind of create this middle part that I had earlier, which I really liked, and going to continue to keep these lines nice and wispy, like this, shading in. And then what I'm going to do is from the neckline, I'm going to draw out where I want my hairline to end and continue these lines up into the scalp, like that. Okay, great. Now fill these in with a couple sketch marks, smooth out the top. Just like that. Sweet. So she's got her hair done. She's all dressed for the day. The last thing to do would be to add some shoes. I'm going to just add a simple like almond toe shoe onto mine. Like this. I'm going to shade them in. Shade them in. Be sure to, I find one of the things that helps with the illusion of actual shoes is making sure that you have the ankle kind of drawn in. So if you notice, I have like the ball of her ankle over here. And vice versa on the other side. Okay, same thing on the other side. Be sure to match your shoes. And then I'm just shading mine in gently and dragging the lines to either side of the foot. Kind of alluding that you can't see all of them, but they're there. Great. Oh, y'all, we're doing awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna call, oh, I almost forgot to, this is a good thing to check before you're done with your drawing, making sure that all of your clothing have ends. So like, for example, I forgot the wrist of where this turtleneck would end over here. So I'm gonna go probably just a step below line number 4 and add a cute little end to the turtleneck there. That makes it feel really finished, looking good. So here we are with that first sketch. We're going to go on to this next one. I'm going to draw another female form, and we'll decide on a different outfit or something like that. Again, if you haven't yet, be sure to split your line into thirds and then in thirds again. So you know the drill. Let's get the head drawn in there again in an oval shape. And then we're going to repeat the same process again of adding the neck in, being sure that it comes from the jawbone. That. Let those lines melt into the shoulders. Again, being sure of the head rule, making space for all of the form that we need to. Even models are people, so they have to have space for all their organs. We want to make sure we create a shoulder line that can do that. Great. Again, I left mine a little bit more gentle, but if you want more structured outfit, you're definitely able to make those lines a little bit harsher. So again, we're going to draw those lines right from, we're going to draw the armpits in here. A little bit down, actually, like that. Take those lines or those little dots and draw and drag them down. Okay, just like that. Awesome. Now it's time to use these darts that I have. There we go. And I'm going to start to create, again, the torso using this line right here, line number 3, as my, my natural waistline. So I'm going to just draw a line gently from there, and then I generally do a horizontal line at that place so that I have, at least in my mind, an idea of how much space the torso takes up. Okay, from there, again, we're going to draw that same transition into the hips and into the leg. We're going to repeat that same process, obviously, on both sides, and we'll go from there. I'm going to do a dress for this one, or a skirt, at least for the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to modify, and I'm just going to take these lines from this natural waistline and choose that as the way that my dress is going to be structured. I'm going to take these lines and gently drag them actually all the way down to line number 9 so that I have a full skirt. Like that. They're just sketch lines for now. I can go back and solidify them in just a minute. And obviously I'll take out some of these dart lines because they're not needed. This is a good time to kill some of those, just for ease of your brain. Okay, great. There's that. Okay, now it's time to decide where this neckline is going to be. Again, this is a good time to consider how you want the shape of your arms to be, because that's obviously going to change the way that you allow the fabric to roll off shoulders or engage with the top of your shoulder line. So now in just a second, envision exactly what the top of your dress should look like, or however you decide to do this outfit, and then we'll talk about how arms work accordingly. Okay, so for me, I think I'm going to go with a dress that just is too simple, like really, really simple straps. So I'm just going to, again, draw lines going towards from the top of the shoulder down into close to the armpit, but not quite there. This leads to a really nice, it's going to be a square neckline. So I like it because it's going to be just a really nice and gentle line across. Okay. Just like that. That's what I have. Great. Again, if you want another idea, I have a couple other neckline ideas over here too, depending on what you're interested in. Okay, so I'm going to continue this line going down and just kind of curve the edges there to create again and finish the illusion of that top. And then we're going to draw the chest in as is a female form. So what I'm going to do is take this armpit line, and I'm going to just allow this curve to gently kind of come down into right there. Great. And same thing over here. And you don't have to let too much of that shading actually show. You can just kind of have the gentle illusion of it, and it can be really quite tasteful, I find. Okay, almost there. Great. So there's that. I got one line I need to adjust real quick. This is where drawing upside down is a little tricky. How's yours coming? Good? All right. Okay. So that's what I have so far. Great. Okay. Awesome. So what I'm going to do here, again, is I'm just going to solidify this waistline. I'm going to throw a belt on there to kind of, again, I find often with women's dresses, we like to define a moment where the skirt starts. So let's create a sort of a belt line or even just a seam line to kind of really help us understand where exactly the skirt begins. Okay, so I'm going to take this horizontal line and I'm just going to thicken it, being mindful of where the actual waistline is on that line. Gently curving these sides, just like that. Fabulous. There's that. Great. Now it's time to give the skirt a little bit of attention. I'm going to leave this one relatively simple, but what I do want to do is just kind of make sure these lines actually fall from the correct part of the waistline. I did a gentle sketch earlier and they seem pretty okay from what I'm seeing in the mirror and when I turn and look at them. But what I do see right now is the need to just kind of, again, round out, start here. Let me move my camera, sorry. Start here at the belt line, and then continue and darken, just kind of solidify where the edge of the skirt is. And if you want to leave it kind of rough and sketchy like I do, you're totally welcome. Or there's that. Okay. Great. So again, I'm going to do that on the same other side. Just like that. Again, finishing defining that. And then the last thing, of course, is to end the skirt, because nothing's worse than a skirt that's way too long. I can tell you from firsthand experience, doesn't matter how high the heels are or how confident you are, a skirt can always take you down. Okay, so there's that. The last thing I see here is I need to just define this dress line from here. Again, smoothing out that line, just like that. Great. Okay, let's give these arms something specific to do. I am going to do a simple bend just like this one on both sides so that you can really focus on just the dress in front. Again, keeping in mind that the elbow line is about line number 3. So I will have to probably adjust my shoulder just a little bit. And then I'm going to work the elbow in from there, just like that. So notice that I took the lines where I just dragged it down to help myself understand the space. And then, yep, we're going right down to that side. Great. You know, erase those other guidelines that were helpful but aren't helpful anymore. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Great. Keep in mind that you do want to have these arms enter right here and right here at the same place. So imagine if you're going to draw a horizontal line, you want those arms to kind of peek behind the body at the same time. Okay. Cool, cool, cool. Okay, we're working on it. We're working it out. Great. I've got that second arm drawn in there. Hopefully yours is going well. There's that. I've got those drawn in. Again, sometimes I like to slim out the shoulders just a little bit. It just depends. Depends on the look, and it depends on your vision. Just kind of round those edges a little bit to kind of create the illusion of a real body. especially on 2D paper. It can be tricky to add that illusion of depth, but I find it helps when we just kind of curve those lines just a little bit. Okay, great. So the last thing to do, of course, is to get rid of the other guides. So I'm going to just get rid of this line down the center, and we'll add some hair on here. I'm thinking what I might do is just do a simple like hair spilling off of the shoulder. So again, starting about there on the head, that head mark in the middle of the forehead, I'm going to just split the hair down just like this, nice and gentle, and kind of just let her hair be down. Okay, so something similar to that. I'm going to add a little bit more when I can turn it around. Sometimes I find the angle is really important for drawing these. You kind of need them to spill at a certain space, a certain way. Okay. I like to add a couple pieces of hair specifically to frame the face if you're going to do hair like that. Lovely. Kind of fill in this side just a little bit more. Okay, great. Looks like the wind is coming from one direction, but I kind of like it. Okay, so here we have these two forms. I've got a really, really simple formal dress over here, and then I've kind of got like an everyday maybe work outfit for the fall right here. Of course, you can add more accessories if you wanted to. Again, being sure that all of the ends and seams of each of your article clothing are very well defined. Next, my next step would be to just add a little bit of watercolor into each of the pants, into the top and into the dress to kind of add a little bit of variety. I'm going to do that, and then I'll post a picture a little bit later. So if you made it to this step, congratulations. You can also go back if you have any questions and check some stuff out. Again, it's been so fun drawing with you. My name is Meg. I'm an art teacher here in Spain, just doing some supplemental class activities to kind of keep everybody moving during this time of quarantine. Let me pray for you and bless you, and I hope you have a great afternoon. Lord God, thanks for who you are. Thank you that you take care of us and that you love us. I pray a blessing over everyone who is watching, God, would they feel cared for by you and loved by you. And I just pray that you go before them, giving them the energy that they need to do today. Lord, we love you. Amen. Sweet. It's been a gift to be with you. Have a good one. Bye.